Hey everybody, thanks for joining me as I take a look at several new additions to my CD collection, this time focusing on Danish extreme metal. And if you're interested in the subject, I made another similar video a couple years ago. But we're going to start off with probably the key release of this batch, that being Ashen Womb, the third and most recent full-length album by Frenolith, released on Dark Descent in 2025. Going to get back to this one in a minute. I mentioned that's their third album. First one, Desolate Endscape, definitely the most brutal and pure death metal thing they put out. Second album, Chimera, was definitely more black metal influenced, and it might be my favorite release by the band. It might be nostalgia of buying it right over the counter of Extremely Rotten Productions in Copenhagen years ago, and being more of a black metal guy than a death metal guy, the style here appealed to me more. But this new album is definitely their most varied. They walked back the black metal influences from Chimera and have returned to the brutality of Desolate Endscape, but this is also much more varied with some experimentation throughout, which we'll get to as we talk about the album. So at first I was kind of underwhelmed by this album, and I think it's the opening. There's like a short intro here that it's metal. It's not like an ambient thing, but it just didn't grab me, and that also applies to the first real song on here, Astral Larva. Solid death metal, just didn't hook me. But I didn't give up on the album, kept listening to it, and then it pretty much became clear by the time you hit track 3, a Husk Wrung Dry. That is one of the best songs on here. And then Lithopadian still has me on board. Nebula might be the highlight of the album. Then you have Stagnated Blood, another great track, which actually has a new element, that being some keyboards thrown in there to good use. Sphagion, I'm not sure that's how you pronounce it, but that's another kind of a spacey, experimental ambient track there. And then the final two tracks keep me on board, especially the title track, Ashen Womb, which is about 10 minutes long and very repetitive, but serves its purpose as a dirgy, hypnotic piece to close down the album. So the frontman of Frenolith is David from Undergang, amongst many other projects. And speaking of Undergang, the bass player from Undergang has this project as well. The band's called Strychnos, and this is their second full-length album, Armageddon Patronage, also released on Dark Descent. This came out in 2024 or early 2025. I don't see the date here, but it's pretty new. And their debut album, I did check that out, and although it's solid metal, I just found it unmemorable, and it didn't keep me coming back. But I gave this second album a shot, and the more I listen to it, the more I like it. It gets labeled as blackened death metal from what I've seen, but I think that's pretty inaccurate. To me, this is definitely a black metal release, but a black metal release that isn't one-dimensional at all. Sometimes it's fast, sometimes it's mid-pace, sometimes it's slow. And overall, I really liked it. And actually, apparently, there is a vocal guest appearance by the frontman of Volbeat, surprisingly, on here. Because he did have a death metal band called Dominus, but it wasn't really my thing, even though some people love it. I'm actually seeing Metallica tonight with my son, and the last time I saw Metallica, like 9 years ago, Volbeat was one of the opening bands. Wasn't my thing, but really the only time I ever listened to them. So, my favorite tracks on here. Number 2, the title track. That's kind of a cool, straightforward second wave meets maybe a Death Spell Omega. Number 4 I really like because it has this cool ambient intro that definitely hooks me and would proceed into some of the catchiest metal parts of the album. And then finally, the final track, Nada Vandriden, I guess it's a Danish word. Probably the most epic track on here. So if you're into mid-paced black metal, check it out. Next up, we have the split EP from Chaosian and The Inquisitor, two Copenhagen, or actually I don't know if they're Copenhagen, but two Danish death metal bands. Released on Extremely Rotten Productions. And it starts off with 3 songs from Chaosian. My favorite is probably Divine Suffering. If I had to pick a band that definitely comes to mind when I listen to both of these, it would be Deicide, but different takes on the sound. I think, Chaosian is like Deicide, but like the name, I'd say probably just a little bit more of a chaotic, less straightforward sound than Deicide. Then it's going to be rounded off with 4 songs from The Inquisitor. On my last Danish metal video, I did discuss their most recent full-length album, Apotheosis. But they take that Deicide sound and much more unique, very cold, somewhat clinical sound. And the drum sound, I like it, but it's definitely got that tinny sound, bringing to mind the drumming performance of another Danish musician, one Lars Ulrich, on Injustice for All. Determined Sacrifice, I really like that one. And then To Be Human's a pretty cool closing track with the voice of like some kind of an academic just discussing the dark side of human nature, and I think it was pretty effectively done. So Chaosian and The Inquisitor, 2 more great bands from the Danish scene. And we're going to end this off with something a little different. This is Conditioned by Violence from Decorticate. This is heavy, but definitely not a metal release, and this is also put out on Extremely Rotten Productions. This is power violence, so most people watching this video are probably more rock or metal people than punk people. So if you didn't know, power violence, basically fast, extreme punk music with grindcore and thrash influences. That's the way I understand it, at least. Big names being Spaz, Siege, Man is the Bastard, and then if you're going into the metal realm, some people include things such as Nails and Full of Hell, and I can definitely see that. But this is very short, about a dozen songs in about that many minutes. No favorite tracks on here, kind of blurs together, but if you want to get to scratch that angry, aggressive, punk-influenced itch, not a bad choice at all. That's it for today. Thanks for joining me. I'll see you next time.